Hello, everyone, and I apologize deeply for what just happened. The transatlantic nature of what we're trying to do and my extreme inexperience with this sort of thing is what's causing the problems. And as you can see, I've even got things running in the background that shouldn't be running. Bear with me for just 1 second here. All right, hang on one moment. I'm sorry. I thought I could mute this out, and I can't. Okay. Enough of that. Welcome to another chaotic live stream of the Angry Astronaut. First of all, I guess one of the most important questions is, can I be heard? I can't see the live chat on my display currently, so I'm not certain exactly whether or not I can be heard. I hope I can be. Bear with me for just one moment. So all I can say is I hope you guys can hear what I'm saying. All right. Pardon? All right. All right. Everything seems to be working out fine, so I do appreciate it and thank you very much. Here we are for another one of these live streams as we attempt to make all of this work. This is all new technology to me. Once again, all I am really capable of doing is messing things up more than anything else. But still, here we go. Things are going as well as we expect. Can we please have a way for me to observe the super chats? Because currently I cannot see them. Or not the super chats, the chats. Dear God, what's wrong with me? The chats. I just want to make sure I'm able to communicate with everybody, obviously. I certainly want to be able to talk to people. So, once again, sorry. A different country, as the server and such, it is madness. But at the same time, I believe in the long run, this is going to be the best way to make this happen. So today we're talking about what happened with Virgin Galactic yesterday. It has been a remarkable experience to say the least. I am beyond excited about it. I am utterly thrilled, and this is. Bear with me. I'm trying my own little way of getting looking at the chats, which is probably just going to screw things up more, but that's just how I am. And, okay, there we are. And there we go, chats. I can see chats. Hello, everybody. Hello, Spaceship Mania. Quick thing to Spaceship Mania. If you want your own crew dragon, if you want your own starship, then go to Spaceship Mania. It is in the description of my video, and you will get a 15% discount if you put in the code ANGRY15. No spaces, ANGRY15. So that's just a way to obviously support me, but also to get your own starship, your own crew dragon. Spaceship Mania does a very fun job, and I'm doing business with him for about a year now. So anyway, in spite of how bad everything's been in the last few minutes, please like if you don't mind. That would be definitely a great thing. My keyboard is allergic to coffee. Yeah, mine is too, actually. I've spilled coffee on keyboards before. It is invariably a disaster. So I hope everyone is doing well today. So yeah, I really want to talk about Virgin Galactic. I hate the bashing of Virgin Galactic, says Lee. People who just go, "Oh, that's just a rich person's roller coaster," don't understand the scale and how air traffic started out super expensive, but became affordable. Yeah, yeah, that is entirely true. And there's more to it than that. If you go to NASA's website and pull up Virgin Galactic, you're going to find out some very interesting stuff. And I knew about this before the Virgin Galactic launch. However, I didn't know all of the details. But they had a number of payloads on yesterday's flight. They had what is called an electromagnetic field measurement experiment from the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. And it provides suborbital researchers with vital information about the environmental conditions inside a spacecraft, while also adding to knowledge about the lower ionosphere encountered at a suborbital flight altitudes, how it may impact the performance of spacecraft and technologies aboard them. This was on board yesterday's flight. Yesterday's flight was not just two pilots and an empty ship. And oh boy, we wish we had paying customers on this thing. There was actually experiments on this. Let's see here. So, and there were other experiments on board. So it's definitely very exciting stuff that's happening, without a doubt. And I'm extremely delighted that this is happening. By the way, if anybody on Discord needs to contact me, including the individual who's helping me with this stream, please DM me at current, because I cannot hear you. So if you would be so kind. So anyway, audio apparently seems to be bad. I'm gonna try to improve that a bit. And I'll talk louder. I mean, one thing is I keep turning away from the audio. Does that improve things a tad? Just got some technical advice. For some reason, because we were hooked together through Discord, that is why the audio is so lousy. And unfortunately, I don't see a way to rectify this situation at the moment, unless my tech support finds a way of doing it. Sadly, we were talking via Discord when this thing was going live, and that's what created the issue. Is it's still routed through Discord, because that's how everything was done. Much better now. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Discord is notorious for not being that good, but still, it's, as long as you can hear it, that's okay. And once again, I am very sorry. It's, it is annoying, to say the least. So, I'd really like to see what people have to think. I mean, my personal belief is that Virgin Galactic has some limited scientific uses and is a much better space tourism experience than Blue Origin has to offer. It takes about 90 minutes from the moment that it drops from White Knight to achieve apogee and then eventually glide back down. To me, that's a much better experience than 10 minutes. But how does everybody else feel about this? Falcon Heavy being delayed. I didn't hear about that. I'm going to have to actually look that up. I don't have any thoughts about it because I haven't seen it in recent news. If Falcon Heavy's been delayed, that's an interesting story. I'll tell you something. Falcon Heavy has been neglected, in my opinion. It hasn't launched since 2019. So yeah, that's problematic in itself. But I don't know if it's Falcon Heavy. All right, yeah, Blue Origin. Yeah, I think that New Shepard will be slightly cheaper than Virgin Galactic, in my opinion. Virgin Galactic is advertising $1,000, whereas Blue Origin is offering a price of about 200 grand. Although they were, for some reason, they opened up a bid for the first one to ride on it, and there's what's it at now? 3 million? I have no idea how far. What's that? Oh, okay. 2.8 million. Yeah, my IT person just told me that it's at 2.8 million. Yeah. Oh my dear God, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The Falcon Heavy delayed till October 2021 due to payload not being ready. That is an interesting development. I mean, that's not much of a delay, to be honest, and I can see that being a payload related delay as opposed to any issues existing with the rocket. It has, after all, flown 3 successful times, which is all that's required for the U.S. military to regard it as a viable rocket. And this is the rocket. The Falcon Heavy is the rocket that's going to be the primary heavy lift rocket for the U.S. Space Force as far as SpaceX is concerned. The U.S. Space Force has far too many heavy satellites that go to geosynchronous transfer orbits that Falcon 9 cannot handle. So they're going to have to use Falcon Heavy, for better or worse, for at least a couple of years. That's going to definitely take some issue. So yeah, that certainly seems the case. I cannot say, Sean, I cannot respond to that without being more fully involved, or rather fully informed. I read a lot, but I'll tell you, not everything. Branson seems to be in it for fun. Yeah, well, he's in it for fun and he's risking his life. He's going to be on the 3rd test flight, actually. This test flight that they just had is the first of a series. They're going to have another test flight after that where they're going to have a number of their employees, not just the 2 pilots on board. And then the 3rd test flight will have Richard Branson himself. So the CEO of the company is going to go up on this thing before any civilians do, before any people who don't work for him go up on the flight. And that takes serious guts. That requires amazing guts. And hats off to him. Hats off to him, because there aren't too many multi-millionaires that would take that kind of risk. Definitely. Yeah, let's have a look at the flight, by the way, while we're at it, just to get a quick review of everything that happened. I think that would be kind of cool if we just have a quick look at what transpired. So yeah, the drop perfectly, and then the activation of the engine. The engine burn time was not nearly as long as something that we would expect, but once again, it didn't have to burn for that long. And plus, on something that small, it's not like you can carry a whole lot of fuel. It's not really possible. So the thing just burned a little bit north of a minute. and then coasted the rest of the way to apogee. And you can see how rapidly this thing got to suborbital flight. The curvature of the Earth becoming extremely obvious. All you guys have probably seen this. And then you see the rotation of the vehicle as it reaches suborbital flight. And this rotation of the vehicle is required in order for the vessel to re-enter and survive the inferno of re-entry in the in the proper configuration. So the wings go into a different configuration for re-entry and then redeploy again into glide mode. So it just and like I say, these pilots, they were so excited about where they were. If you heard their telemetry and everything they had to say, boy, were they excited about this experience. I never get sick of watching this, by the way. I've watched this a million times. I absolutely love the hell out of this. And plus all the windows, you see the windows on the ceiling? That's something that makes it way better than Blue Origin, because what the pilots can do is they can flip the ship inverted in space and give you a view of the moon and the stars, assuming that the launch took place at night. You can't see the stars during the day, obviously. Even in space, the sun blots it out. However, if the sun is blocked out by the Earth, then you can still see the stars, the moon, etc., and get a magnificent view. And look how smooth and easy this is. What's that? Okay, it's just smooth and easy, I'll tell you. Just smooth and easy, this landing, compared to Blue Origin. I mean, that thing sends up a massive cloud of dust when it impacts. I can't imagine that that's an easy thing. Anybody who lands on the Soyuz would tell you that it's definitely not a pleasant experience to hit solid ground. We Americans don't do that at all. The Russians figure we can take it. But yeah, let's have a look at the Blue Origin video just as a comparison. Let's have a look at that real quick, and we'll show you. I'm going to point out some very important differences in this suborbital tourist experience versus the Virgin Galactic tourist experience. All right, so yeah, they've got their little lineup here, and we're going to send astronauts inside. They did that the last time, like this wet rehearsal or whatever. Oh, Psyche, you're not going to space after all. Now, why don't you go back up to bundling packages like you're supposed to? And then they, obviously had a chance to launch. It's been a very reliable rocket, to defend Blue Origin a little bit. I mean, they've tested the hell out of this thing, obviously. So, in my opinion, they could have had passengers on this thing a year ago. I'm rather confused as to why they haven't. So, yeah, I mean, it's not carrying a lot of mass. And the amount of thrust it has is quite minimal, but it doesn't have to have a lot of thrust, obviously, because it's just getting into suborbital flight. But it's just to me, you're just you're sitting in your seats and then detaches. But as you can see, there's no windows in the ceiling at all, so the only view you're getting is out of those side windows. And the thing rotates automatically, bit by bit, like every 30 seconds, I believe. So you get to see out, but you don't get to see up. And whereas if you have actually living pilots, that's a different experience. Oh boy, look at that impact. You notice how they cut that out really fast? They cut it out so fast when that thing hits the ground. It's kind of insane. Now here comes the reusable launcher. Once again, this booster is extremely reliable on reusability, and that's something I like. I mean, I can't deny that. But once again, it has the same kind of practical use, I suppose, that to NASA, the Virgin Galactic would, with an important difference. Virgin Galactic can take off from a lot of different types of airfields. It's a lot more flexible, whereas Blue Origin requires an actual real live launch pad, that sort of thing. So it's a lot less flexible. So yeah, you can't even, you're right. Good point was just made. You can't even look down. You get a horizontal view, right? So, by the advantage of having living pilots on board, they say, hey, you want to have a look at the Earth? Flip it upside down. You got windows in the ceiling, and then you can look at the Earth in detail. You want to look at the moon? Flip it again, and there's the moon. If you have real pilots on board, you have that advantage. Blue Origin does not have that. To me, it's just not the same experience. And if you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, to me, you want the maximum experience. And as you're coming down, even, it's going to be exciting. As the wings deploy, you go into gliding mode. I mean, you're coming down from 80 something kilometers down to nothing, and very rapidly, and then going into glide mode. It'd be kind of like a roller coaster. It'd be really exciting, I think. It'd be quite an experience. Whereas with Blue Origin, you're coming down like an anvil until your chute's open, and that's about it. I don't know. It just doesn't seem as exciting to me. 500 people viewing right now. Please like, please subscribe. By the way, I am interested. Oh, and now you get to meet my cat. Hang on for just a moment. Hello. She's underneath my chair at the moment. So yeah, she's usually not in here, but here you go. Okay, so this is Juno, my fat cat. Yeah, cats, from what I understand, are YouTube creators' favorite friends. I'm afraid I do need to put her up, though, because she doesn't like this very much. I'll be right back. I was going to try to allow her to stay with us, but it just wasn't going to be practical. So yeah, she's actually a really nice cat, man. She's an amazingly sweet thing. And by the way, if once again, of course, I'm going to ask this over and over again, I suppose, as I go through my videos or whatever. Please like, please subscribe. And if there's any way that you want to provide additional support, it's going towards very positive things. It's going towards this, by the way. The whole way that I'm doing live streams now is not free. So, I mean, it's not a lot of money, but it is not free. So that's, one way to help out the channel. You get a little reward for those of you guys who were here before, a little recognition on screen, etc. And then on top of that, you get the Discord server and all of the extras that come with that. And it can be done for as little as $3 a month if you go on Patreon, Super Chats, whatever. And this will go towards a number of things. I am going to go see the next Virgin Orbit launch, which is going to be taking place from Spaceport America, just like this launch, and just like a certain channel managed to get exclusive live streaming on, incidentally, and they did a great job, by the way. And I want that experience. I want to see that in person. And Virgin Orbit will launch their rocket from a lower altitude than Virgin Galactic's rocket was launched from, and it's a more powerful rocket because it reaches orbit. So that's going to be pretty damn cool. And so in any event, oh, thank you. Somebody jumped in. Anton, thank you so much. Love you too, Roswell. Oh, Garth, thank you so much for the 5 quid. That's very generous. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you jumping in like this. You guys are the best, and always have been. By the way, the new video has been crazy popular. What does everybody think? Have people seen the new video yet? The Blue Origin video? Yeah, how can BO be in the running for 10B contract with zero production hardware? That's a good question. I would say it's because of their political allies. I can think of no other reason. And the fact that they're run by the richest guy on the planet. They should have no other right, because Elon and SpaceX didn't start getting contracts until Falcon 1 reached orbit. We don't get that with Blue Origin. They haven't reached orbit. So yeah, I'm glad people have enjoyed the video. Yeah, the more I read about the BE4 and the challenges that they've been facing and the reported frustration that's been taking place at ULA because of the BE4 has led me to believe that that is what's causing the delay with the Vulcan Centaur. And as most of you know, the Vulcan Centaur is a rocket that I'm fond of. I think it's a very ingenious design, and there's a lot of innovative reusability being built into it. It's reusable second stage tug, so space tug kind of design, that being especially interesting. A lot of innovation going into this rocket, but it's yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah, we might be able to get this on screen for you, the Vulcan Centaur. This rocket, once it's no longer CGI imagery taking off, I mean, the core is at the Cape right now. But if the engines don't work, the core is just going to sit there, So, Chris, thank you so much for the 10 quid. Really do appreciate that. All right, going on screen. So yeah, it's just the Vulcan Centaur. The BE4 engines are technically extremely powerful. I demonstrated of the BE4. You can see right now the the assembly of it, and the different components, etc. And yeah, this is a video that includes a lot of interviews with the engineers who are working on that second stage, the advanced second stage that used to be called ACES. It's no longer called that, but the principle's still same. That little piece of equipment, that silver piece of equipment, it's a restarter for the engines, and it can restart those engines as many as 15 or 20 times. So this is a rocket that can be reused and reused and reused. The second stage, that is, for different purposes after it achieves orbit, after it delivers its payload, go to the moon and pick up more cargo, be refueled in orbit. Does that sound familiar? Well, it's because ULA has been wanting to do this forever. So, there we have the second stage with two Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10 engines. They use Aerojet Rocketdyne for the second stage. The reason they do that is because it runs off of hydrogen and oxygen, which are elements that are very abundant on the moon. So it makes a lot of sense to run off of that kind of fuel, whereas finding methane on the moon is tough to nearly impossible. And then it shows the payload capabilities of Vulcan Centaur. And one of the big reasons why it's so good is because it's so light. The new materials that it's being used are very efficiently produced, very inexpensive to produce, and it's super, super light. It's very, very lightweight materials. So yeah, it's on paper, this is a really cool rocket. This is a rocket that could be extremely competitive into the future. In reality, because of the damn BE4, it could be in really serious trouble on a lot of levels, and that pisses me off beyond all belief. Jeff needs to step down as CEO if the Vulcan Centaur does not doesn't take its position. Really, Tory Bruno will probably be under a lot of pressure to resign as well if something like that happens, which would be bad. I think Tory's a good CEO, but given that he made the decision as well, he could become a scapegoat. So we'll see how that ends up going. Let's see. Respect the engineers for hard work. Honestly, BO deserves the critique. Yeah, I totally agree. I should hate New Shepard because it's orbital. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But hate New Shepard because it's the only thing that they've managed to create. They haven't gotten anything else to orbit. If they have a suborbital rocket, great. But in 20 years, what's that? Yeah, yeah. So if you want there, if you hate it, because it's suborbital, no, it's if Blue Origin had something else besides it, whereas Virgin, they've got Galactic and they've got Orbit, so they have the ability to reach orbit. I like that. I like that a lot. So I do appreciate. Oh, Christopher, thank you so much. My planning on interviewing Robert Zubrin. It would be an interesting experience. Robert Zubrin can be a grumpy guy sometimes, from my understanding. Although I would really like to interview him. He does have some innovative ways of looking at things. So we'll see. I mean, we might get along just fine because both of us are so grumpy. So yeah, but very interesting stuff. ULA versus okay, so yeah, ULA and SpaceX. Those are the two big competitors. Blue Origin is not even in the picture anymore, insofar as they're screwing everything up. They're doing a great job of screwing things up, not just with ULA, but also on the lunar lander part. If NASA is stupid enough to choose Blue Origin as the second competing lander for HLS, as seems likely, that will be one of the biggest mistakes NASA has ever made. The Blue Origin lander, well, if you guys have watched my videos, you know all the flaws associated with it. But on top of that, they're developing the BE-7, a totally new propulsion system. And we've seen how good Blue Origin is at developing new propulsion systems, extreme sarcasm. So, do you really think that Blue Origin's going to be able to make the BE-7 to flight certification in time? No, not just no, but hell no. So, I don't get it. I don't understand why they've been making this decision. They're under contract to deliver ULA engines late this year. Yeah, that's what they're under contract for. Oh, thank you, pal. Really do appreciate that. Very nice of you. Yeah, support coming in. I really do appreciate it, guys. It really does move me quite a bit. I'm very grateful. And like I say, it all goes to, and talk about my asteroid mining. Yeah, I've done a couple episodes actually about asteroid mining. Great source of just great resources for the human species, all out there, enough to support our civilization for thousands of years if we just have the guts to go and exploit it. Yeah, it takes a lot of money up front and a lot of risk, but the reward is ridiculously high, incredibly high. And I do believe that when Elon launches the Psyche mission here in, I think it's a year and a half, something like that, he's going to see that probe is going to bring back amazing data about just how valuable that asteroid is. And he's going to think, maybe if I go to Mars, maybe I can exploit Psyche from there, because it would be way easier. Will the U.S. military give an extension to the 2023 Russian engine prohibition if ULA can't deliver the BE-4 engine to ULA by 2023? They would need to convince the U.S. Congress to change the federal law. It's not the military's decision. They would have to go to the House and the Senate and pass a new law that would allow for this. It would need to, in the Senate, it would need to pass by a 2/3 majority in order to avoid a filibuster. And if something were to happen really negative with our military during the time when Biden was in office, or if Trump was in office and it was the other way around, there'd be a lot of political incentive, shall we say, to see to it that it doesn't go right, that things start going wrong. So hard to say. Hard to say. Oh, wow. Thank you very much, Aldo. Who's to blame for the problems at Blue Origin? Surely not the engineers, who must be at the top of their game. I agree completely, Aldo, and thank you for the £5. In my opinion, the buck stops with the top guy. It's as simple as that. The buck stops here. The buck stops with Jeff Bezos. He did not support Blue Origin sufficiently financially. It was talked about that he gave $1 billion of his own dollars to to Blue Origin per year. Big effing deal. Come on. Are you kidding me? That's it. How do you expect to do all the different projects that he was working on? New Glenn, BE4, his new lunar lander, New Shepard, $1 billion a year? That's a joke. You can't afford that. Elon almost went bankrupt delivering the Falcon 1 and making it work. He almost drove himself to bankruptcy. That's the kind of risk that Jeff needs to take, and he won't, and that's why he's failing. So yeah, not the engineers. They just need to be supported properly. That's my opinion. Yes, Dustin, Bezos makes me really angry too. Yeah, extremely angry. We shall see. Remark was made, Musk got to orbit with $100 million. Yeah. However, he was only working on one thing. He was working on the Falcon 1. That was his only project. Blue Origin's working on HLS, and they're working on New Shepard, and they're working on New Glenn, and they're working on BE4, which is a part of New Glenn, but still, they're working on all these different projects simultaneously with a limited budget. That's unwise. That's very unwise. Even SpaceX now is not working on a whole bunch of different projects. Falcon 9 has a few improvements, but it's mostly done. Falcon Heavy, they're developing a new fairing because they're being forced to, essentially. Starship is where all their money's going. They're focusing on Starship. Yeah, thank you very much, Mars Embassy. You are the best. Thank you so much, Mars Embassy. And by the way, Mars Embassy, great channel, great footage from the South Padre Island and close to the launch pad. He goes and films there all the time. Lots of awesome photography. I use it on my own videos. He's kind enough to let me use that footage for free. So yeah, please go there, please watch, please subscribe. And I'll also talk about Total Space too. Because the guy from Total Space is here helping me make this a reality. So support them all the way, please. Okay, so looks like we have a link of some kind. I'll have a look at that a little bit later. Okay, thank you. Why do I think who do I think will launch successfully first? The New Shepard or the Vulcan? The New Shepard. Well, it's flight ready. It's flight ready at this point, and that should be embarrassing to Jeff Bezos, because this rocket, upon which so much depends, the Peregrine lander for Artemis, the Dream Chaser, and the U.S. military, the Space Force, our ability to maintain surveillance over powers that have nuclear weapons, not just the Russians, but North Korea, other rogue, Pakistan, India, who might, declare nuclear war on each other any day. There's so much hatred there. And I know because a fellow who's a friend of mine who runs a nearby store is Indian, and man, you don't even talk about Pakistan around him. He's a really nice guy, but you don't mention Pakistan. So there's a lot of animosity there, and our ability to maintain surveillance over all of these nations when there's a flare, when there's an infrared signature of an incoming missile. We need that. We need that ability to watch, and we need that military oversight. And without it, or if it's delayed, that is a big problem. So if the choice is made with New Glenn, Vulcan will fly before New Glenn. I do believe that. The only problem with Vulcan is the engines. New Glenn has the problem of the entire damn ship being designed by Blue Origin. That's going to take a long time. In my opinion, Vulcan will fly before New Glenn. And believe me, I am hoping with every fiber of my being that Vulcan Centaur will launch by the end of this year on time, that somehow maybe their engineers will go and help Blue Origin or something, and they'll pull a rabbit out of their hat and these things will be flight certified in time. I'm really hoping for that miracle to occur, and it would be a damn miracle. As I said before, there's a lot of frustration at ULA right now with Blue Origin and their incompetence. That's not just me saying that. That's according to a number of space periodicals that I researched before I put out that video. I don't just make stuff up. I research these things. And yeah, it's not 100% certain. There's no official statement, but still people talk. There's no stopping them. And the people talking at ULA say that Blue Origin sucks. They say it as much as I do, perhaps more, because their jobs depend on it. So yeah, I don't know. I could rant about them all day long. That's just how it works. Okay, let's see. Silly New Glenn. Yeah, the New Glenn doesn't even make a whole lot of sense anymore, really. Yeah, Boeing actually flies some real hardware. That's also true. Boeing has actually flown something. They can at least say they've gone to orbit. They put actually people into orbit on the moon. I mean, Boeing has a great history. It's just it's fallen apart recently. That's the only problem I've got, is it's just fallen apart, and I'm no fan of that. Do I think the Neutron from Rocket Lab is a worthy competitor to Falcon 9? Yes, I do, and here's why. It is possible that that the Neutron will be less expensive than Falcon 9. And if it's able to carry 8 metric tons worth of cargo to orbit, but more importantly, carry humans to the International Space Station for less money than the Falcon 9, then yes, it is a worthy competitor. And this was a very smart move on the part of Peter Beck to jump into this field, because Virgin Orbit is in a position, if they keep making successful launches, they're in a position to dominate this market, because Virgin Orbit, all they need is an airfield. They just cut a deal with the Brazilian government to launch their satellites into orbit from Brazil. Brazil, in its entire history, has never launched a satellite successfully into orbit. Virgin Orbit will fly Cosmic Girl, their 747, down to Brazil, put their payload on Launcher 1, take it directly over the equator, which is the perfect place to launch from, and launch from there. No other rocket system can do that, at least no other rocket system that's currently in use. Virgin Orbit has some pretty big advantages in that whole small sat world, and that's something that Peter Beck is reacting to with the Neutron. CJ Mitchell, thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. Very excited about the Neutron, no question about that. Neutron will keep flying after the Falcon 9 is retired. Yep, that's another thing. When Starship becomes the only ship that SpaceX has, and by the way, some people think that that's a mistake to go completely with Starship, and not with that. You know, that's an issue. Thank you, Corrupt Reverend. You have a question, or if you snap my fingers and one space company of my choice gets unlimited funding. Oh my God, that's a tough question. I've got too many that I like. I know I just can't do it. You know, it'd be easy to say SpaceX, but they practically got unlimited funding now. They've got the second/first richest company on the planet backing them up. So, you know, do they need unlimited funding? You know, ULA, of course, has tons of high-paying customers. Do they really need it? I mean, who's a super promising company that could use lots of money? There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. I can't really pin myself down on one. I can give you some votes. Rocket Lab might be one. Maybe Sierra Nevada, but it's a billionaire-owned company. Dynetics, they're not a billionaire-owned company, so they don't have tons of their own money. You know, not billions of dollars in the bank anyway, or anything like that. Axiom Space, That's one that I might give unlimited money to so that they can put a new space station into orbit in a great big hurry. Yeah, that'll be my vote. Axiom Space, these guys. That's going to be my vote for who gets unlimited money. Well, Axiom, we're going to put Axiom on screen, by the way. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the opinion. Yeah, it's Axiom. They're amazing people. I've got a great relationship with them. Talk to them all the time. They are. And by the way, I will be going to Houston for their groundbreaking on their new headquarters. They have so much funding now. They are regarded as a unicorn company, unicorn space company, which means they have more than $1 billion in the bank. That's how well supported they are. They're breaking ground on a new headquarters very soon, and I will be there for the groundbreaking to meet all of the big wigs and all that. I've been invited to attend. I don't know exactly when it's going to be, but I intend to be there, and I think it's going to be a very cool event. And of course, while I'm in Houston, I will pay a visit to Boca Chica and see what's going on there. Just because that's what I do. Okay. Yeah. Again, I made a video about this. I called it the most important SpaceX mission in the next 12 months. And the Axiom Space mission involves 4 individuals heavily involved in philanthropic causes who are going to the space station. A lot of media outlets have stupidly called them space tourists. They're anything but. These guys are on the station to conduct medical research in microgravity on the part of medical charities that they do work for. That's what they're doing. No, they're not space tourists. They're demonstrating what Axiom Space can do, what they'll be able to accomplish once they get their station completed. Yeah, that's an exciting mission, and it's happening really soon, less than a year. So yeah, it's amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. So why do somebody owns Blue Origin stock? Oh well. Full disclosure, I own Virgin Galactic stock, so I'm excited about Monday. I don't own a lot, just to let you know. I think I got 20 shares or something. But anyway, I bought that when they were kind of in the dumps, and hoping that this test would go well. So looking forward to Monday, I guess. But it's in my retirement fund, so it's not like I could touch it for a long time. Anyway, so yeah, that's investing in Virgin Galactic appears, at least for now, to be a good investment. And I think that once they have another successful test, their stock's gonna go up even more. And right, I am not providing official investment advice. I just got a little voice in my ear telling me, yes, that's a very important legal statement to make. I am not providing investment advice. I have no experience as a stock advice consultant. Okay, big disclaimer, over with. And we'll keep going on that. All right, let's see, anything else? Gosh, almost 700 people watching. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you so much to all the super chats that I've been getting so far. The support that I've been receiving. There are other ways to support me in the description, just to be clear. But any support. Wow, thank you so much, Plastic Pinocchio. I've seen you before. Thank you for the 5.5 euros. What do I think of the pretty unrelated relativity space if 3D printing their own rocket proves feasible? I see them in 30 years. It's tough to say because of the competition. They need to do something that really sets them apart. They need to do, like, I'll give you an example, Skyrora, okay? They're going into a small sat business, like so many other people are, and they're in Scotland. And what makes them different? Well, they have this space tug idea. where the top level, the top stage of the rocket, once it deploys its cargo, it stays up there and it can relight the engine dozens of times, from my understanding, and push pieces of space junk and dead satellites out of orbit and shove them into the atmosphere to burn up harmlessly, get rid of space junk. So Skyrora has a system whereby they can do 24 missions with the same rocket. That is innovation. That's a good idea. You got to come up with good ideas that are going to set you apart from the competition. Otherwise, you're going to get eaten up. So that's my opinion. But we'll see what happens. All right, let's see here. Yeah, please keep those likes coming. Keep those subscribes. I appreciate the folks who enjoy what I do. I'm deeply, deeply humbled. Thank you. I can't imagine why so many people enjoy what I do, but I'm very, very grateful that that's the case. It's awesome. It's just awesome. Okay, so let's keep it going. We can. I'm opening the floor for the next 10 minutes or so. Let's talk a little bit more about Virgin Galactic. Let's talk a little bit more about Blue Origin if you want to, or whatever. I'm happy to take more questions, and let's keep those likes going. We got almost 700 people watching. Smash that like button if you enjoy what you're seeing, please. I would really appreciate it. So let's see. People enjoy conversation. Okay. Do you think Starship can be used for large-scale space debris cleanup? Yes, I do. Launch a crew or modified in Starship for 1 to 2 weeks of cargo bay for junk? Yes. The Starship could definitely serve that purpose in an admirable way. It could be a gigantic space dump truck. It could accomplish a lot in that regard. As to whether or not Elon's going to use it for that purpose, that's hard to say, because you can do the same thing with small robot tugs that don't require much thrust to get them into orbit at all. So we'll see. The Europeans seem to be tackling the space junk issue very aggressively. That seems to be one of the big focuses for them. Hello, Michael Martin. I'm glad to have you with me. What? Michael Mars, sorry. Michael Mars, hello. The fellow who's running my live stream across the Atlantic, he says that I'd just like to say hi. From what I understand, you're a big supporter. Once again, I'm so sorry. It's this whole thing's become a bit overwhelming to me over time, with over 60,000 subscribers now, trying to respond to as many of them as I can, and address these things. I get direct messages over Twitter and over Discord, and then I try to see some things on YouTube when I can. It's just simply too much for one guy to handle. It's just simply too much, which is why I have somebody running this live stream in another country. I can't do it all alone. There's no way I can do it, or at least somebody with my competence level, which isn't that high. So this is why I've got this help. Darth Rust, thank you. Is there anything positive the community can do to get the Alpaca under contract? Absolutely. Email the new administrator. Email NASA and their top brass or the deputy administrator, and let them know. Yeah, or congressman, especially congressmen in Alabama, and Colorado. ULA is a huge supporter of Dynetics, just to be clear. ULA was heavily involved in the Dynetics lander. So anywhere ULA is, that's where you should be sending congressmen, senators, and also to NASA. Let them know that the Alpaca was treated completely unfairly. Yeah, it had a flaw, but I'm confident that they could have fixed it, because they have a good track record for getting things done. Our national defense, United States national defense, depends on the reliability of Dynetics technology, and they have delivered very well for years. So I am confident that they can resolve that whole mass to propulsion issue. I think they can fix that by 2024. I do not think that Blue Origin can get their problems fixed ever. I mean, look at their track record. They got New Shepard, and that's it. That's all they got. You know, you really think they're going to be able to come up with a viable lunar lander in 3 years? They can't even develop an engine in 3 years. So yeah, ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. All right, we got a few more minutes. I'm more than happy to take more calls or more questions rather. Another thing with thing that was pointed out with alpaca, there's a study that's come out recently that indicates that the lunar regolith is actually meters thick, and something as heavy as the Starship would actually settle quite deep into that regolith, and not unevenly, not evenly rather. And so you might have this kind of thing going on. Starship, in my opinion, needs a landing pad in order to have its maximum level of effectiveness. And who's going to build that landing pad? A couple astronauts on an alpaca. They can set that up. I think the two of them can work in conjunction perfectly. I think that plus, you know, Dynetics and SpaceX are not sworn enemies. Blue Origin and SpaceX are sworn enemies. So who do you want working together more? Somebody who has no cause to be mad at each other, or somebody who hates each other? I mean, come on. All of this is so logical. So let's just come on. If there has to be a second competitor, and I think that's a good idea, let's make it alpaca. That is the best solution. If they don't come up with a solution, we still got Starship. If Starship is delayed for a little while, we still got alpaca. That's the best way to proceed, in my opinion. And I think NASA would be foolhardy if they choose any other way. So we'll see, but I'm kind of biased. What can I say? I communicate with Dynetics on a pretty regular basis. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, any other questions that we have on this regard? Why is Blue Origin taking 3 years of problems? SpaceX took 6 years to develop the Raptor. My problem would be that Blue Origin's taken 6 years to develop the BE-4. Where is it? You know, they started in 2015. 6 years, still having problems. Whereas SpaceX has an engine, yeah, the Raptor has to be swapped out, but it still seems to be performing. It still seems to take off with perfect efficiency, especially if you're only talking about a few of them. So it doesn't seem to be really much of a problem. I think that they've made very good progress on the Raptor in the time frame that they've had. Yeah, and that's another point that was just made to me. They didn't sell the Raptor to other companies and put other companies' futures at risk with their engine. Elon only risked himself, and that's an important consideration. That is a very important consideration. Okay. All right, sorry, my throat gets dry. We've got about another 4 minutes. I'm still happy to. Would I go to Mars? Yes. Yeah, I would. Once my kids are established, once I know that they're in good jobs, good careers, etc., if I had the opportunity, which I don't think I will, I would go to Mars and end my life there. Absolutely. It's one of my dreams to end my life on another planet. To be able to. Now, if I could never go to the Valles Marineris or Olympus Mons, if I never had an opportunity to go to the most magnificent places on the planet, and instead I'd have to live underground the whole time, I wouldn't want to go. You may as well live in a cave here. But I don't believe that's what the future is. I don't believe that's what the future is. I think that to encourage people to go, Elon is going to show the amazing experiences, right? Olympus Mons, Valles Marineris, you know, these travel posters and stuff. That's how he's going to get people to want to go, is put the most amazing things imaginable. That's how he's going to get people to go. So that's my opinion there. Other questions. You know, I don't think a lot of people have been talking about using Raptors for Vulcan Centaur. Vulcan Centaur would have to have a significant redesign. Raptors are different than the BE-4. They run off of similar fuels, but it's not the same. So it would require a massive redesign that would take a lot of time. So just if the BE-4 is not ready when it's supposed to be ready, ULA is going to be in a world of hurt.
And the one thing that I found to be really suspicious, and I said this in my video, is Jeff Bezos has purchased 9 flights of the Atlas V for his Kuiper Belt satellites. Not the rocket that uses his engines, but the Atlas V. Why? Why aren't you purchasing flights on the rocket that you're responsible for, that you're a big part of? Because he doesn't think it's going to work. And that is really unnerving. It really bothers me. And like I say, I'm really unhappy about it. SpaceX fans, may be thrilled that they're going to be able to crush ULA. I believe in competition. And I think that this mistake, this error in judgment of going with Blue Origin, and way back in 2015, there was no way to say for certain that this sort of thing was going to happen. That's a sad reason for ULA to suffer as a result. I think that they should remain a strong competitor in order to make SpaceX better and to make them better. I'm a capitalist at heart. I believe in competition. Competition makes everyone better. Okay, once again, I'm going to go ahead and drop off at this point. I'm super grateful, guys, that you guys tuned in. This has been a wonderful topic that we have discussed. I am so excited about everything that's happening. Thank you for your support. It's going to be used both for me to see the stacked Starship launch when that happens. If it happens in 7 months, well, I'll be there regardless of what the dangers may be, in person. And then, of course, going to see Virgin Orbit take off and see that live and in person. I think that will be an amazing experience. So that any support I get, that's where it's going, guys. Absolutely. So until Virgin Galactic is taking commercial passengers into space and giving Blue Origin a run for their money with a much better experience, I urge all of you to stay angry out space.